Hi everybody, and welcome back to Atlas Debate Resources. In this video, we're going to be discussing specifically the UIL LD Affirmative Position, kind of breaking it down and making it understandable, especially for beginners. So let's dive right in. To begin, what does affirmation mean in specifically UIL Lincoln Douglas debate? So it's important to note that in every UIL LD debate round, the resolution is going to be phrased as a statement. So one specific sentence that is either absolutely true or incorrect. It's a basic logical premise. So if you know anything about the study of logic, what this would be known as is a declarative sentence. It's either true or false. As the affirmative, your job is to prove that this declarative sentence is true exactly as is written. So, to kind of give an example, resolved, the private space industry is necessary for future human expansion. And as the affirmative, you'd say, yes, this is true because I value whatever the value may be. Might be something like progress, might be something like resources, security, any number of reasons. To expand on that, when you are the affirmative, this is the specific way of how you win. So the affirmative holds something called the burden of proof. What this means is that you can't just say the affirmative position, the resolution is true. You have to actually have proof to back it up. Evidence, statistics, moral claims, any of these are evidence, but you have to actually prove it. And that's what you're going to be doing in your case and on your side, is proving that it's correct and then negating claims are false. How you prove the resolution is true is entirely up to you. There are only two basic requirements. The first is that you have to have an abstract value as to why it is true. I say I value private space travel because, like I said, I value progress. It's most important because I value resources. I value the human condition. Whatever the case may be, you have to have a value as to why you're affirming. And this is what all of your proof is built around, is this value. In addition, you must have a definitive position in affirmation, not halfway. You can't really concede points as the affirmative necessarily. You can't say, yes, it's necessary for half of human expansion. It's necessary for half of so on and so forth. You have to be completely in the truth. And that's what makes the affirmative position a little bit difficult, is that you are standing on top of an absolute 9 times out of 10. Now, some simple strategies how to win. The first and most common is advocation. So you're simply going to say that whatever you're subject of as the affirmative is good. Going back to our example, you would say that the private space industry is so good for humanity. We can find new places to live. We can find new resources. It provides all these jobs. It provides people things to be happy over, to be interested in. Just simple advocation. This is your most common affirmative case and what you're going to see the most, both really as the affirmative and the negative side. We'll explain that more in the negative video. This is what I recommend the most for beginners because it's very easy to find evidence to prove something is good or something is bad. So you build it off of that, and then you say that all of these things give my value, and this is the ultimate good. Next to the affirmative, you have the ability to analyze the resolution. So for example, you could say what makes something necessary, and that's the whole thing you do, is you analyze what is a necessity, and then you prove the affirmative position is a necessity, or whatever it is you're trying to prove, because you have the opportunity to set that framework. Speaking of framework, the next simple affirmative strategy is the framework argument. For example, going back to our pseudo resolution, the negative can only discuss human expansion, not negative of private space industry. As the affirmative, you're the first speech, so you can create the framework for the rest of the round. Something I've said numerous times in these videos, what makes UIL LD unique is that you create your voting issues. There's no set stock issues necessarily. You create as you go what wins or loses, and basic thing you can do as the affirmative is create a framework that shows that win or loss. And then all you do from there on is uphold the framework. This is the most common for advanced debaters, and when you get onto the regional and state level, this is what you'll see the most. It's usually built through things like observations. And then finally, the last simple affirmative strategy is the negation of clash. So basically, you take away the entire negative position. This can be considered abusive, but you have to prove it, so the negative has to fight back. So there is still clash available. Going back to our example, this would be showing that the only expansion left for humanity is the private space industry. Not that that's entirely true, but that's something you could prove. Remember, as a debater, your ultimate goal is not to beat your opponent, it's to win over the judge. So whatever you do, do persuasively. This is a really short video, just kind of give an example and some basics. I hope it helped. If you have any more questions or like an expansion or more to learn, you can reach me out on my Instagram or here on YouTube or my email. Any of these will help, and I'm willing and more than happy to help. Remember, Atlas is here to take a burden off of your shoulders. Thank you for your time today.